Oh, hey, it's Colleen Gallagher in the house. How are you? I am super excited to be live on this Wednesday morning before I head to San Diego, which is going to be amazing. I have a 5-day trip there, which I'm just so excited about and so thrilled about. And so if you are seeing my face now, or you've seen Colleen Gallagher International anywhere on the internet, this is my storefront. So just as if you were to walk into a brick and mortar store of shoes or clothes, this is my storefront. This is what I'm so excited about. This is how I've built a community of around 70,000 people between all of my various platforms that each of you deeply believe in living a life you love. Each of you have went through something traumatizing or difficult or really hard for you to manage and cope with as we're in this life of enlightenment and ascension and connecting to something greater than us. And so anyway, say hello once you join. And if you watch the replay, say #replay. Please let me know where you're tuning in from. I literally love these platforms because it's a tool of connectivity. And if you don't say hi, if you don't type or anything, then I don't know that you're here and we can't connect. So anyway, I wanted to talk to a specific person on today's live. Today's live, I want to speak to the person that is someone who is an overgiver and someone who is an overachiever. I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but this live specifically is for people who overgive, who just give and give and give and give and give and give and give. It's like you feel like your friends call you and then they ask for a glass of water and you bring them a whole bottle of, or like bottles of water to take home with them. You feel like that your friend calls and you're in the middle of trying to be a mom or a dad, or you're trying to be present with yourself, and so you stop everything you're doing to obtain or to be present with this person. You are always just giving and abundantly giving. Like you are always someone who has more than enough. You're giving money to the person that's on the street. You're giving money to people that ask you. You're always a listening ear. And from this, you're also simultaneously someone who's a high performer, an overachiever. That means that in everything that you do, you overachieve it. Like, for example, I'm in my PhD, while I'm doing my business is successful, and I have a 4.0 GPA at Pepperdine University. You are someone who, whatever you do, you excel at. If you say that you're going to run a 5K, you're going to be in the top 10% of the 5K. If you say that you're going to work out every day, you're going to be in the top percentile when you're done with the working out people in the 30 days. Like you are always someone who's outperforming or outdoing yourself. You have a very high standard for how you live, very high standard for how you hold yourself. And so today, this live is I want to speak to those of you who are overgivers, who just give and give and give and give and give, and you're overachieving and you just feel so exhausted. You're just exhausted. You just can't do it anymore. You feel like if you have to go on one more day living the way that you're living, you're like, how am I going to get up in the morning to make this happen? This live is for you. This is the live that I want to have a conversation with about. So to bring you guys back, my little wheel fish, to bring you guys back into when I first started my business. I was working a corporate job in New Zealand. So I quit my job in America, moved across the world by myself, no boyfriend, no anything. Didn't go through like a divorce or anything, just wanted to. It was my dream, made it happen. And I lived there. And when I lived there, I worked for a $400 million company. And I also made the commitment that I was going to do yoga and meditation 4 hours a day. I know, very aggressive. And on top of this, I kept adding more things to my plate. I added a life coach to my plate where I really wanted to figure out what my purpose was. From that, I realized I wanted to build like this movement of love around the world, of people who really believe globally that love could transform the world. And I was so excited because I was just like, oh my God. And so every person I would meet, literally, I would just be so excited, and I would be telling them about it at the coffee shop, or I would be telling about them at like little boutique stores. And that's how I ended up getting my rose quartz crystal, the very first crystal I got. I got into tarot deck. That's how I got invited to really cool like sound healing events and electronic events and DJs that I really liked. And I started consuming all these webinars and people online, like you're watching me right now, like consuming what they thought. And I was just so excited. And I then decided I was going to write a book, which was my first book, Live Your Truth. If you haven't seen it, I don't have it right by me, but it's on my website. I can leave it here. This is my Uncompromised Life book but I'll leave my products here so you guys can see them. But I wrote my first book, Live Your Truth, which was Start Your Journey to Freedom and Healing. And around this time, now my manager was starting to notice that I was saying yes to a lot of things. He's like, I'm very careful with you. My own manager said this, like, I'm very careful with you because you always say yes to everything. You say yes, 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 and I don't want your plate to be overloaded. Right? And this is part of the overgiving, the overgivers, what's it called? Like identity, is that we just say yes and we want to do everything yesterday and we want to get it done as fast as possible. We want to get to the destination of New Zealand, or we don't want to do the plane ride to New Zealand. We don't want to do the plane ride to Hawaii. We just want to get there. We don't want to do the plane ride or the journey of dating to get to marriage or to get to love or to get to union or divine union. We don't want to do that part. We don't want to do the messy part. We don't have to understand conflict resolution. We don't want to understand that things are going to go wrong and we have to face that when we mess up and other people mess up. Instead, we just want to keep giving and giving and giving and giving to avoid the problems. Like, well, I'm such a giver and I'm such a whatever and I do all these things. So since I give so much, since I do so much, I am exempt from having to deal with worldly problems. And I feel like this was me, a large part of my journey, where I would say yes to men I was dating when I really didn't want to do things, or they wanted to hang out and I actually physically didn't have the time to hang out because I needed to, like, I felt that inside of me needed to be producing for my business, for God, for source, for whatever's coming through me. I would physically say yes to clients on things that I felt like this doesn't feel good to me, this isn't what I want, and I would say yes and let it happen anyway. I would say yes to things in like my schooling, like being a leader or being whatever that I really didn't have the time for. And so I did all these things out of overgiving, where I would give and give and give and say yes. And then it seemed like I achieved all these things. I was high in, I had a multi-million-dollar territory I covered at the age of 23. Even when I was in New Zealand, it was like $1 million, I think, in New Zealand. There was another 1.2 million in Australia. I forget what Korea, Taiwan, Japan was, but I was always giving, giving, giving. When people were like, can you bring this to the party? Can you do this for the thing? Can you come early to yoga? Can you listen to me for 5 minutes? Can you send this text? Can you do whatever? And I would do all these things to overachieve in life. I would say yes so that I would then get to the result of having this achievement, but then I was left so exhausted. It's almost like I had no one to enjoy it with. I had nothing to enjoy it with. I had no one that I could be happy with. I wasn't even happy myself because I had given so much that I had no energy left inside of me to actually give to myself. And so this live is specifically for you because when my life began to change rapidly in 2018 is when I began to leverage the digital world. Because the digital world is in a place when you are someone who is overachievement, you are talented, people like what you say, people come to you, people value you, where you can begin to multiply yourself. You mean have a video like this? I mean, I have hundreds, if not thousands of videos. I have hundreds of podcasts. I have thousands of posts, that's for sure, that I've done. And I've duplicated myself where I don't have to overgive my energy. I have resources that I can give the everyday person that when I'm out living my life, when I'm at the coffee shop, when I'm talking to a friend, I can give them a blog, I can give them a podcast, I can point them to a live, I can point them to something that I've done. And this, in essence, is the beginning of my journey to digital sales and the beginning of my journey to really set myself free from codependency, from overgiving and overachieving, where I always felt unfulfilled. Because the worst thing in life is to look back and feel like you did all these things and it looks great on a resume, checklist, but you feel empty on the inside. You feel like there's nothing there. You feel so sad. You feel like, what have I given my life to up until this point in my life? Because it feels like everything I've done, none of it really matters. I don't feel a resonance. I don't feel an excitement. And Robert, I'm so happy that you have also absolutely over-yesed yourself. I think most of us who are light workers, most of us who are in holistic healing, most of us who are practitioners, most of us who are born educators and born teachers and born salespeople and born, good whole people, we overgive because we feel like we have so much that we have to give it all away, and we have to give it all away for free because we were so blessed. And what really changed me, and that's why I'm so passionate about this live and why I wanted to have this conversation today, is because when I began to learn how to master digital sales and write everything as a sale, everything is sales. When I began to master digital sales, my life began to change because I no longer felt like I was always being depleted by this world. I felt like that I had places for people to go and that I was always being overfilled because people would come to me, I could give them a resource, they would come back and say, oh my God, that changed my life, or oh my God, I implemented that, or oh my God, I loved meeting you, I want your insight, I want whatever, I got it, wow. And it felt like I was like overly now abundant, having more than enough to say, more than enough to do, more than enough of everything. And so that is actually why I created in December of last year, 2021, I created my 7-week course, How to Master Digital Sales. And the reason I, like I said, believe in this is because if you are someone who is an overgiver, if you are someone who is a overachiever, but you still don't feel happy, you have to begin to learn how to communicate in the digital world. This is the only key to your liberation. It is the only key that's going to let you finally feel like, oh, I have room to breathe. I have room to release. I have room where the whole world, the weight of the world isn't on my shoulders, the weight of my family, the weight of whatever. Like I have a place where I can do what I love. I can communicate my thoughts clearly. I can connect with people that I really want to connect with instead of being in jobs that I don't want to be in, with people I don't want to be with, talking about things I don't really care about, because when I look back in 2 or 3 years, it's not going to make me proud to leave a legacy talking about those things. And so this course is for you. It's 7 weeks and it's on sale right now. It's a self-study course. It's usually $1,111. I have it on sale right now for $555. It's 7 modules, 7 videos. You get lifetime access. It will only be on sale till tonight, April 27th. Sorry, I'm getting confused on days. Wednesday, April 27th at 12 p.m. PST. Then it will not be on sale anymore at the 50% off. I will send the money back if it is after that day. So the first week, which I'll just lay here, I kind of talked about it, but week 1 is accept everything as sales. I kind of talked about that, but you cannot move forward and you cannot conquer your overgiving and your overachieving if you do not begin to accept that everything is sales. The next thing at week 2 is you have to overcome the fear of selling. Selling is simply a communication. Selling is communication. When I go into Amazon and you see this, it's a communication. When I am talking on my phone, when I'm going to go rent, when I'm buying tea, when I'm buying coffee, everything is a sell, and selling is communicating. The better communicator you are, the better you can clearly communicate, the better you're more passionate about communicating, the better you're in environments where you're excited to express yourself. You feel good about what's coming inside of you and what you're putting outside of you. It feels congruent. It feels in alignment. It doesn't feel like, oh, this is so hard to communicate and say, and why am I doing this? And I hope that if I say this, I'll see a result. That's caveman selling, which is what people are afraid of. But when you can actually communicate like I am today about overgiving and overachieving, which is something I suffered with for years. It is something I suffered with. And I feel like I always beat new levels of it. I feel like there's a really big level of overgiving and being the nice girl and whatever that I'm beating right now, where now I'm coming into this point of who I am, of being an empowered woman, of really saying at a different level, of really saying, here's my boundaries, here's what I'm asking for, here's where you need to meet me. And if you cannot meet me, here are the things that are going to happen. I've never really been like that. I've always been kind of the sweet, nice girl. And I'm really transitioning that because I deserve that. And I want that. And I want to be around people who are like that, who hold me to that standard. So you have to overcome that fear of selling, because selling is just communication. In week 3, we go through what is your unique sales process. It is really important to know this because everyone has a different type of sales process. I have many different mentors that I follow in the online world, the offline world, brick and mortar, in-person events. I really have a very diverse group of mentors. And so I've really learned in this week 3, when I take you through, is how to do your unique sales process, because there is not a right way to sell and there is not a wrong way. And there's definitely not a right or wrong way in the digital market, because everything has to come from your soul, your heart. Like, you can hear me being present with you. You can hear me being excited about this, because I know what it feels like to have such a fear of selling and communicating. God almighty, I remember more in relationships than maybe my business, but I remember my relationships, a man would be sitting there right there and he'd be asking me like, what do you feel? What do you think? And I'd be like, I don't know. Like, I couldn't even get it, because I couldn't overcome my fear, and I didn't know how to communicate. And so you have to learn, what is your way to communicate. For me, if I'm talking about a deep conversation, I like to sit there, I like to process it, I like to take some time, I like to write about things, and if I come to someone, I like it to be written. That's why most of my content is written or it's spoken in video. You have to learn what yours is, and you also have to learn out what is your sales strategy. What are you offering for free? What are you then getting from people from free to a lower end offer, from a lower end offer, building a trust to maybe a membership, like something like $111, something like, a higher end offer. So for an example, if you're looking at a gym, right, their unique sales process would be they give you a week or two of free, or a month free of training or whatever, but maybe lock you in a 90-day contract, or they give you a month free and then we're to renew. The next thing is when you're in the gym, they're going to try and get you to a personal trainer, right? You have to look, what is your unique sales process? How do we create that? What does that look like for you? And that's what we cover in week 3. Week 4, after you know your unique sales process, is creating your offers and products. How do we create your offers and products? If you do not have an offer, if you do not have a product, if you do not have a service, if you do not have something that you are so excited to talk about, like I am so excited to talk about digital sales because it changed my life forever, to stop doing digital, or stop over giving and stop overachieving where I didn't feel fulfilled, you're never going to really be fulfilled, because you're always going to be communicating, talking, speaking. And remember, whatever you say, the words that you put out of your mouth, that is what creates your reality. So you want to look at creating your offers and your products, what they are, and we go through that. And we go through that your offers and products aren't like this thing you have to make up. We simply look at your history, just like anything. History repeats itself. We look at your history. What is it you led yourself through? Week 5, we go through creating your ideal client, which is super exciting. I love soulmate clients. Those of you who tell me like you have, clients that are like horrible stories, you want to run from them or whatever. I don't know. I have a very different reality. Many, I'd say majority of my clients I really, really love. I love a lot, all of my clients, like genuinely love them. I think the world of them. I think they're amazing. So that would be that. Week 6, create and master your elevator pitch. This is important. If you don't know how to pitch yourself, if you don't know how to say, hi, this is who I am, this is what I do, here's what I offer, it's going to be really hard for you to feel like you can sell, for you to communicate, for you to be excited. And week 7 is practice the energetics of money and your bank account. So that is the most important thing, is if you don't really look at how to practice the energetics of money and your bank account, if you don't really look at how you're going to do that, then you're not going to get very far. So those are the 7 weeks. The link is above or below for you to enroll. The sale will end. Robert, I love that. Yes. And great message and offer. Client arrived, circle back. Yes. I hope you are able to enroll, Robert. It would be awesome to have you in this. So make sure to enroll. When you enroll, if it's today, you will have a 20-minute call with me that's included in the self-study course. This course is 7 modules. Each video is like 55 minutes, I think, to maybe 90 minutes. There's a range in there. And it's just an amazing course. I love it. It's incredible. And so make sure to listen. Make sure to go through it. And if there's anything else, feel free to comment. Feel free to share this with a friend if you have any questions. But I'd love to see you in the course. I'd love to have a conversation with you. I'd love to get you to the point of stop overgiving, especially in business and especially in sales, where you feel like everything is just you're overgiving to clients, overgiving to people, and you have nothing left to give. How we really can streamline that through systems and processes so you feel excited and you don't feel like you're just giving your energy away freely with nothing coming back. So here's a link, and have a great day.